He completes story of Ishmael, the forgotten son of Abraham. Before kingdoms were built, before nations took their place on the map, there was a story hidden in the shadows of a greater promise. A story of a boy born into conflict, raised in uncertainty, and cast into the wilderness. His name was Ishmael, often overlooked, often misunderstood, but never forgotten by God. The beginning of a complicated promise. The story begins with Abraham, a man chosen by God and given an extraordinary promise that he would become the father of many nations. But there was a silence that lingered in his household. His wife, Sarah, could not have children. Year after year passed. The promise echoed in Abraham's heart, but reality told a different story. No child, no heir, no visible sign that God's words would come to pass. Time has a way of testing faith, and in that waiting, doubt began to grow. A decision that changed everything. Sarah, worn down by years of disappointment, made a decision rooted in human logic, but one that would carry lasting consequences. She turned to her servant, Hagar, an Egyptian woman who had likely been with them for years. "Go to her," Sarah told Abraham. "Perhaps I can build a family through her." It was a moment of desperation, and Abraham agreed. What followed was not just the birth of a child, but the beginning of division. Ishmael is born. Hagar conceived, and in that moment, everything changed. What began as an arrangement quickly turned into tension. Hagar, now carrying Abraham's child, began to see herself differently. Sarah, once in control, now felt dishonored and replaced. Jealousy entered the household. Pain followed closely behind. Sarah dealt harshly with Hagar, pushing her to the edge until she could bear it no longer. Hagar ran into the wilderness, into uncertainty, into a future she could not see. The God who sees. Alone in the desert, pregnant and afraid, Hagar reached a breaking point. But it was there, in the emptiness, that she encountered something life-changing. God met her. Not Abraham, not Sarah, but Hagar, the servant, the outsider, the forgotten one. An angel of the Lord called to her. "Hagar, where have you come from, and where are you going?" It was not a question of location, but of purpose. And in that moment, Hagar poured out her pain. God responded with compassion and power. "You are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your suffering." Ishmael, God hears. Then came a promise. He will be the father of a great nation. Hagar gave God a name in return. The God who sees me. Because in her lowest moment, she realized she was not invisible. A son grows in waiting. Hagar returned and gave birth to Ishmael. And for 13 years, Ishmael was Abraham's only son. Imagine those years. The laughter, the teaching, the bond between father and son. Ishmael likely grew up believing he was the heir, the fulfillment of the promise. Abraham loved him. There is no doubt about that. But heaven had a different plan still unfolding. The arrival of the promised child. When Abraham was nearly 100 years old, and Sarah long past childbearing age, the impossible happened. She gave birth to a son, Isaac. His name meant laughter, a reminder of the disbelief that once filled their hearts. But his birth shifted everything. What once seemed secure for Ishmael now became uncertain. 2 sons, 1 promise, and a growing tension that could no longer be ignored. The breaking point. As Isaac grew, so did the division within the household. One day, Sarah saw Ishmael mocking Isaac. To her, it wasn't harmless. It was a threat. Fear rose in her heart, not just as a mother, but as someone protecting a promise she had waited a lifetime to see. That night, Abraham wrestled with the decision. But God spoke. "Do not be distressed. Listen to Sarah. Isaac is the child through whom your offspring will be reckoned. But I will also make Ishmael into a nation, because he is your son." Even in separation, there was still a promise. So Abraham did something that must have broken his heart. At dawn, he prepared food and a skin of water, placed them on Hagar's shoulders, and sent her away with Ishmael. No servants, no protection, just the wilderness ahead, the wilderness of despair. Hagar and Ishmael wandered in the desert of Beersheba. The sun was relentless. The water ran out. Strength faded. Eventually, Hagar could go no further. She placed Ishmael under a bush and walked away. "I cannot watch my child die," she said. And she wept. It was a moment of complete hopelessness. No plan, no help, no future in sight. The God who hears, again. But heaven was not silent. The cries of Ishmael reached God. And once again, God responded. An angel called out, "Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying." Then something incredible happened. God opened Hagar's eyes. Right there, in the desert, was a well of water. Provision had always been near. She just couldn't see it. She filled the skin, gave the boy a drink, and life returned. He was not abandoned. He was seen. He was heard. He was chosen for a different purpose. A legacy that lives on. Ishmael's descendants would spread far and wide, influencing nations, cultures, and history itself. His story echoes across generations as a reminder. Even when people fail us, even when life takes unexpected turns, God's plans are still at work. Final reflection. Ishmael's story is for anyone who has ever felt pushed aside, for anyone who has ever been told they don't belong, for anyone who has walked through a wilderness season. Because the truth is, God sees you, God hears you, and your life still carries purpose. You may feel forgotten, but you are never beyond the reach of God. Ishmael is one of the most overlooked figures in the Bible, often remembered only as the son sent away. But his story is far deeper than rejection. In this video, we uncover the complete story of Ishmael, from his miraculous birth to Hagar, to his painful exile into the wilderness, and the powerful moment when God heard his cry and provided a way for him to survive. This is a story of struggle, identity, and purpose. A story that reminds us that even when the world forgets you, God never does. Through hardship, abandonment, and uncertainty, Ishmael's life reveals a powerful truth. God sees, God hears, and God still has a plan. What you'll learn in this video: the true story of Ishmael and his mother Hagar, why Ishmael was sent away, how God responded to his suffering, the promise God made to him, the legacy he left behind. Subscribe to the Biblical Archive for more powerful Bible stories. We bring Scripture to life through storytelling that inspires faith, reveals truth, and connects ancient history to today's world.